Today we visit one of the most exciting holiday light shows in the United States, and we get a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to make all of this happen. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned as we garden smart in Georgia.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs, where every plant is performance tested, leaving you free to just enjoy. Find our award-winning shrubs at your local garden center.
Bring the outdoors into your everyday life. Bass Pro Shops can outfit all your adventures, even those in your backyard. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 75 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
You have to rely on your gear. The way it feels, the way it does exactly what you need it to do. The F-Pace, how Jaguar makes an SUV.
Garden Lights features over 2 million lights with over 150 lighted trees and shrubs throughout the garden. Inside the Conservatory Rotunda, the radiant rainforest is festooned with laser bliss lights that provide a rare experience with plants and lights. Around every turn, tunnels of light and program sequences abound. They draw the viewer into a new and unique experience with the garden. This is all the culmination of months of planning and raw creativity that take flight in an amazing setting. Amanda Bennett has worked in the Atlanta Botanical Gardens Horticulture Department since shortly after her graduation from the University of Georgia in 2001. She's responsible for management and growth of the garden's diverse plant collections and horticultural displays. Let's catch up with Amanda and take a behind-the-scenes look at this holiday masterpiece. Amanda, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
This is one of my favorite times of year in Atlanta. This is one of the most spectacular garden events, I think, in the United States of America.
Well, thank you.
Which is Garden Lights here at the Atlanta Botanical Garden.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
So we are in our 9th year of doing lights here at the Botanical Garden. We were just in an AJC poll rated #1 for Atlanta holiday attractions, so
Wow.
we're really excited about that. Yeah, and it has just evolved over time to one of the best traditions in Atlanta, where it's so much fun to have everybody here. It's walkable. You get s'mores and you enjoy everything.
Yeah, it's a spectacular event, and it's something that the community has really rallied around.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you try to even get tickets, oftentimes it's sold out. So it's a huge success.
Buy them ahead of time.
Yeah, it's an amazing event. I would love to know from you as a horticulturalist, as a gardener.
Yeah.
There's millions of lights out here, and
Yep.
that's gotta affect the way that you do your job on a day-to-day basis, right?
It does. A lot of people may think, oh, horticulturists probably hate holiday light season. It really isn't, because as we'll talk about, it shows plants in a different light. It
Right.
really, it shows them at a season when most people don't even notice them. And that's what's exciting to me. It is a funny dance between horticulture and exhibits to get everything done on time. But it's really fun. We work well together, and we know each other has deadlines, and we work well together.
What's the time of the year too, where, as you mentioned, like many plants are dormant, and so it may be considered like one of the more boring times of the year in the garden, but the lights allow you to really accentuate the architecture of the tree, shrubs, etc.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things about it. Every time I work, I really marvel at how beautifully the trees look with all the lights on them. And even the evergreens, you look at them and they kind of can be green blobs, but then you put lights on them and they show the shape, the architecture. Deciduous trees are my favorites. We'll talk about crepe myrtles. And, to see a full tree lit like that, you can see the structure, nothing more beautiful.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. Let's go look at some crepe myrtles.
Let's go.
One of my favorite winter trees, or I should say trees for winter interest, is the crepe myrtle, because the exfoliating bark, the bicolor bark,
Yep.
And then also just architecturally, it almost looks like musclewood. It's just such a neat plant when it's season long, but also in the winter.
It's beautiful. I can't tell you, year round, we probably don't get more comments about trees than we do about crepe myrtle LA. First of all, people don't know they're crepe myrtles because, crepe myrtle is so horrible. Nobody sees them at full tree height.
Right.
So when they see these, they realize how beautiful they are. And the exfoliating bark, everybody asks about it, and it's gorgeous. Thankfully, the squirrels usually take care of it for us before the lights get wrapped on it, and you can really see how beautiful it is.
And so there are many of these throughout the garden, and of course they play prominently into this exhibit. And I'm assuming that's mainly because it's a very easy plant to put lights on, right?
It's easy. Most of them are planted in really accessible places. Like the alley here is really easy for the team to get to. But again, their structure's really beautiful, and they're so southern. How can you not accentuate them in a southern light show?
Yeah, and with regards to crepe myrtles too, it's a plant that, if one wanted to even like in containers, bring that indoors for, some winter interest.
Yep.
It's a very versatile plant, right?
Super versatile, very easy to grow. A lot of gardeners know they go from everything from full-fledged trees down to little bitty shrubs. So there's a crepe myrtle for your space. And yeah, you can throw them in pots. They're easily grown in pots, wheel them in and out. You can even throw lights on yours too.
Yeah, so I think from a year-round interest standpoint, thinking about architecturally, what is this tree going to look like, throughout the year? And it's just an added bonus that these are so spectacular when they're defoliated.
They're so spectacular. One fun little interest about their bark is when you wrap them with lights, the lights are on so much. When you unwrap them, the bark will look a little bit candy cane-like. There'll be some lighter and darker places. So it's almost like you extend your fun a little bit longer.
Oh, that's awesome. The conservatory here at the Atlanta Botanical Garden is one of my favorite conservatories in the U.S. And it's so impressive. And I think a lot of that are the majestic palms. And certainly on a year-round basis, they really bring like just a sense of just the magnitude of the space. And there's so many interesting varieties that you have here. What are some of the ones that you think particularly stand out?
Oh my goodness, we have hundreds of variety of palms just in this one building. It is a specialty of ours. And the collection in this particular building we focus on are from some of the islands like Madagascar, the Seychelles, some of the old world islands. We have rattan palms. People hear of rattan furniture or baskets, and we have the palm. We have one of the newest palms that have been discovered within just the past 50 years. The elephant palm right behind us is another majestic one. There's so many in here, and they all have such beautiful stories. You want to talk to every guest about every single one they walk by, but it's a lot of fun in this building.
Yeah, and palms, of course, are so versatile. I've got a couple in my house. They make a great indoor plant.
Oh yeah.
In the summer, you can bring them outdoors if you have like
Yep.
the right kind of shade environment for them.
Yep.
And they really add tremendous interest. There's something structurally that's so fascinating about a big palm frond. I think it gives us that sense of just lush, tropical relaxation.
It almost takes you to a vacation just inside your own house. We use them all the time in the outside. Sometimes, we move the ones we use from the outside in the
Right.
summer into the inside in the winter and plant them in here. Perfect thing for a homeowner to do. You have something you love, you don't have to let it go in the wintertime, just move it on into a sunny window.
Awesome. So with regards to the Christmas lights display in the conservatory, it's a little bit of a different type of display because outside it's more lights that are either wrapped on things or draped on
Yes.
things and uplighting and all that.
Yep.
But in here we've got these really cool, like almost little laser pinpoint
That's exactly,
displays
yep.
all throughout the entire conservatory. That's
Yep.
fascinating.
It is fascinating. So the product is called a bliss light. To me, it looks like a ton of glitter got dumped all over everything. Some people the other day said it looked kind of like little tadpoles all over everything. Some people, other people talk about it looking kind of like Avatar. So it's just a
Wow.
very different experience in here. It's beautiful in here. I can't encourage people enough. If you see the outdoors and you haven't been in the conservatory yet, you've missed a big part of it.
Oh, I totally agree. They're like little stars or snowflakes,
yeah.
and this place is so transportive. Anyways, you feel like you're in a rainforest, and then adding that element of these
Absolutely.
little colorful lights is really fantastic.
It does, and those lights in a way, you walk through, and us as gardeners, we see all these different leaf shapes, and we see the different forms and the different sizes, and it's almost like those lights accentuate that at night for people, and you really get a whole new perspective of how beautiful these plants are with those lights on them.
But it also draws your eye into like areas of the conservatory or
Yep.
areas of the garden. I think that's what lights does is
Absolutely.
whether you're even enthusiastic about plants or gardening,
Mm-hmm.
you're experiencing plants in a way that you wouldn't otherwise experience them. And maybe you're noticing things in the garden that you wouldn't because now it's being highlighted in a different way.
Absolutely, and that's one of our big goals. We really want to have people have a great experience with plants, and that means different things to different people. People ask me all the time, "Oh, what's the best way to garden?" The best way to garden is what makes you happy,
Right.
and we really want plants to make people happy. And looking at a giant palm uplit and green sparkles, that's got to make you happy.
Absolutely. One thing that we talk about often is the way that the garden brings wildlife closer to us as gardeners or just as, people who are visiting gardens. And one thing that's really neat about the conservatory here is that wildlife component. We don't oftentimes talk about frogs on GardenSMART,
Right.
but it actually is a really, really neat feature of this space.
It is. You touched on it earlier. We really want people to feel like they're in a rainforest,
Right.
the full experience. That's not the only reason they're here. Frogs play a huge part in our environment. This is one of our flagship programs. We've had an amphibian program here at the garden. This building opened in 1989, and shortly thereafter we started an amphibian program. They're great for IPM. They
Right.
really help balance things out. A lot of the stuff we have in here have symbiotic relationships with the plants, and we really want to be able to tell that story.
Yeah, absolutely. So we think about, the type of problems that we could have with insects in a garden. Of course, that's what frogs eat. And
Absolutely.
if we want to reduce our populations of whatever they are, mosquitoes, et cetera, frogs are great for that.
Frogs are there for that, and we have other amphibians in here as well. We have geckos, we have different things, and they're all here to really help create this beautiful balance we have going on in this building. And you get the added benefit of really having that real experience. We don't do soundtracks here. It's all real that you hear.
So what would be a typical frog that we might encounter in this conservatory?
Oh gosh, our most popular and the one who loves to talk to everybody at night are all the coquille frogs. So all of our friends from Puerto Rico who come through, we open the doors and they immediately know this frog, and it just brings joy to so many people. We have other frogs in here. We do have poison dart frogs in here. They're not poisonous, but a lot of people feel like they're going to come jump out on me, and they're not. They're just as afraid of you as they are them. They just want you to hear them sing.
So for me as a home gardener, is it practical for me to introduce frogs to my garden?
You're probably going to have tons of backyard frogs anyway, especially if you live near close to water. and just enjoy their sounds and know that they're creating a really great balanced ecosystem for you. But don't miss this building and think you've heard it all, because you haven't until you've been in here.
Right. Perhaps one of the most iconic Christmas plants of all time
All time.
is the poinsettia.
Yep.
And it's in fact a plant that seems to be almost just stereotyped for Christmas. We don't tend to see it any other time of
Yep.
the year. Although if we go to South America, they grow into 25, 30-foot tall trees.
Yep.
And they're basically, year-round plants.
Yep.
They're pretty much always treated as annuals here. Although if we do take care of our poinsettias, you can keep them for years to come.
Yep.
Let's talk about a little bit about the poinsettia displays here, and then how do we care for our poinsettias?
Yeah, so we do poinsettias here. We usually do some in the visitor center, but our obviously most iconic display we do is the poinsettia tree. And we just try to mix it up. We try to have fun with it a little bit, We want it to be a little bit unusual. We obviously love plants here, so we're gonna throw a little different spin on it.
And it works so well in all these different displays. It's such a vibrant pop of red, and actually what we're looking at, that's not the flower, right? The
Nope.
red is the bracts.
The red is the bract. So if you're looking at your poinsettia plant, the big red is the bract, and those tiny little frilly looking red things in the middle, those are the actual flowers. They do bloom in their cooler months, which is why you see most of them here in the wintertime, although they want to have nothing to do with cold weather.
Right, absolutely. So tell us just a little bit about the process of getting the bracts to color, because this time of year they probably wouldn't naturally do that, right?
They wouldn't, yeah. So the growers go through a big, cold and warm process to get them to where they are right now. We actually order our poinsettias 9 months in advance. So we're about to order our poinsettias in January for next year's display to give the growers enough time to grow them out and really get them in full color by the time we get them.
So once we have our poinsettias home, what are some good tips for keeping them happy and healthy? Because they'll survive well beyond Christmas.
They'll
right?
survive well beyond Christmas. I will tell you, the number one thing I get, don't overwater it. If for some reason people think they take a lot of water, and they actually don't. They are euphorbia.
Right.
So you can water them, let them dry out, and then water them again. You don't have to water them every day by any stretch.
And it's a tropical plant, so it has no cold tolerance whatsoever.
Nope.
So we want to keep it away from drafty windows or doors, and of course
Exactly.
it's not an outdoor plant.
Not an outdoor plant at all, but if you have it in a bright window, or after your season, most people have them in their living room or near their fireplace. Move it to a little bit brighter room if you want to keep it after the holidays, and just don't overwater it.
Right, and that's a good point. From a standpoint of hanging onto your poinsettia, if you want to keep it year round, it needs to be in a bright, sunny place.
Yes.
It's not a plant that's going to love too much shade.
Nope, not going to love too much shade. A bright, sunnier place. Eventually, if you're really good, you're going to have to cut it back after a while, but don't overwater it. You should be good to go for quite a while with a poinsettia.
The holidays are such a fun time to explore what we can do in our homes with containers. And there's so many really, really neat plants that we can use. I think when I think about containers, or the time that I spend the most time putting containers together, is spring through fall, because most of my containers are outdoors. But it's a great opportunity to bring the containers inside and do something fun.
Do something fun, yeah. Most people don't think of doing indoor winter containers the same way they do summer containers, but you can. You can apply the same concept, something tall, something medium, something spilling. You can just have fun. Go to your indoor garden center, pick out some things you like. It's the same concept as when you shop for summer. You just end up with a slightly different, more festive product.
So in your experience of building containers here at the garden, what are some of the best combinations that you've come up with for the holidays, or just some of your favorites, plants that really, really work well together?
Yeah, so people may be surprised, but we're actually really fond of sticks here. So using cut red twig dogwood, yellow twig dogwood, curly willow, all of those make phenomenal centerpieces for containers. They're really interesting. They're actually really colorful. We spray paint curly willow a lot here, so you're not stuck with the colors. Stuff comes in. Pick your colors and have fun with it. Orchids, moth orchids do particularly well, but some other species of orchids do really nicely in containers as well. Obviously poinsettias, and we have mostly red here, but they come in tons of colors. Pink is really fun as well if you're looking for something less traditional. But yeah, I mean, most of those indoor plants, just put them in a really nice combination in a container, and you'll blow your guests away if you're having a party.
Yeah, so if you go to our garden center, we check out the tropical section. I see cow lilies throughout the garden as well that are used in containers.
Yep.
So we can think about, what are those like winter bulb cyclamen?
Cyclamens, yeah. Cyclamens, ethereums, peace lilies. A lot of these plants people have hanging around their house anyway.
Right.
So why not grab them all and put them together in some really pretty arrangement? Just think about it in a way you haven't thought about it before.
No doubt. Well, Amanda, we've had so much fun today, and we always learn so much every time we visit. And lights, of course, what a spectacular and special time of the year. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Always great to have y'all. Come back anytime.
Each week we travel the country north to south, east to west, visiting some of the most exciting gardens, as well as talking to industry horticulturalists about design principles, new plants, and also how you can be most successful with your home gardens. We also love answering your gardening questions, so visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs, where every plant is performance tested, leaving you free to just enjoy. Find our award-winning shrubs at your local garden center.
Bring the outdoors into your everyday life. Bass Pro Shops can outfit all your adventures, even those in your backyard. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 75 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
You have to rely on your gear. The way it feels, the way it does exactly what you need it to do. The F-Pace, how Jaguar makes it SUV.
Today we spent an enchanted evening at the Atlanta Botanical Gardens and got a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to put on this amazing holiday spectacle. If you have questions about anything you've seen, visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, even if you're a master gardener, there's always more to learn. So join us next week for more great gardening tips and ideas as we garden smart.